Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks. I just made a video on how to hopefully recreate this text. And while that video was loading, I was looking at his graphic and it's really, really rough. And he didn't ask me for help, but I'm going to put my 2 cents out there. I've already kind of done it in just a little bit of time and cleaned it up. The majority of the stuff that needs to be cleaned up is the outside. You can see the pixelization. So there's a little trick to that. I am going to go to bitmap and edit or resample. I've already set it for 300. I've already converted it to a grayscale. It was a color item and it's still got some color in it. But then I'm just going to grab it and I'm going to trace it. I'm just going to use outline trace clip art. Takes just a second because it's really small. Now I'm going to move this out of the way. And you can see the lines there and how rough they are, especially the text. That's why I originally needed help, because the text is so bad. But if I was going to engrave this, is what I would do. I would go to Object, Group, and ungroup it. And then I've already got my nudge factor set on 4 inches. I would grab that black and nudge it out of the way. What you have here is the outline. The inside looks pretty good. Now we're going to left click, right click. Now if you look, the outside is the main part that's rough. So it'd be kind of hard to smooth out the outside without getting to the inside. Well, if you take it and go to Object and break the curve apart, you can take that outside line and move it over, and now I can clean up this outside line as much as I want. And if you have X7 or above, you can use a smoothing tool. Let's zoom in here and clean this up. Just real quickly, I've got mine set on 100 because I've learned through the years how fast to go. And I could have probably could have left those squares because that's part of the helmet. But this quick, you're cleaning up the outside. And I could keep going, but I'm going to leave it like that. Now I'm going to clean up the inside just a little bit down here at his hands. And this could be very easily done with the, if you don't have X7 or above. I'm going to clean up that tip a little bit. Now what we can do is take this one and move it right back over. Take our Smart Fill tool and fill this in with black. Look how much crisper it is. Now, if you remember, we just nudged it so we can nudge it right back. We're going to get rid of the text, because he's going to have to work his way out of that one. Instead of moving it, I'm going to move the whole thing to the right. So that would actually engrave once we get rid of this yellow. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a yellow box for just a second to see if there's anything that's clear or transparent in the drawing. And there's not. But I think it would be neat to leave this transparent. That way, if you're engraving this on something, the wood would stay. Now, there's multiple layers of his lens. Don't really need it. Now watch what happens when we remove the yellow. It stays yellow because I'm going to get rid of my yellow background. So I'm taking away the yellow that's actually not transparent, but it's yellow, but when I make it transparent, and there's several ways to do, this kind of stuff. And I'm just going to show you one. So there we have what we want. I'm going to start moving the grays. And I'm going to leave that yellow stuff. And it, in a way, it would almost be easier to go ahead and just delete the yellow, but you could do this too, because there's a lot more yellows than there are blacks and grays. And then once you have quite all of it, what you can do now is take your Smart Fill tool, set on black, and just fill in these spots. They're going to engrave now. And you could leave them transparent or white. Some like that yellow, we can just cover it up. Now that might be better left and you can make it gray, and it all depends on how you're going to engrave it. if you're gonna, this would be a really good lesson on engraving twice. I don't like that line there that I brought in. See if we can't delete that line. Yep. That was a line I moved over and I nudged it over. But you could make some of these black, some of them gray, and you could actually engrave this in 2 stages. The laser is going to separate the grays from the black just a little bit, but you'd have a lot more control if you watched a couple of my videos on how to, I think I call it run twice, cut once, laser once or something. And see that one, well, there's some more whites, but leaving some of it isn't a death sentence. It's not that bad. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get the into that crack. And you could do, so instead of trying to fill up that crack, take your shape tool and click on it and then like move it up. Move this up. You're just covering up that white background, if it is a background. I actually think that would engrave. Pretty cool. You could fill this in with black too. And, but there's 2 different colors of gray. I think it would really add to the engraving. You could try it like that. And if you don't want that white spot, take your shape tool and just start deleting the nodes. If you don't want another color there, which not really necessary. See, we got rid of it. If you see, I saw something a while ago down here at the bottom that you can't tell what it is. Just take your shape tool and select it and delete it. Now it is white now, so it's going to be transparent. But what you can do, you could fill it in with the color eyedropper tool, take a sample there and fill it in there. Now that took away some of our colors, so we don't want to do that. So maybe just take the Smart Fill tool, get the eyedropper tool, and eyedrop that color, and then put it in that hole. Same color. I think it'd be pretty cool to leave and see, we need to take some of that, like we did with the shape tool, move some of, you can either move the gray or move the black, to cover up that spot. Sometimes it's kind of hard to lasso enough nodes to get it to move over. But and see here, there's 2 layers, so it might be easier to do the black, instead of trying to do the gray on both sides. And you could get your hand on and just do like that. You don't want anything showing that's transparent. It's just basically a space between 2 parts. So you moved one, you open another one up. So here, let's get the gray, move the gray up. I think that would engrave definitely a lot better than the original. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.